to Expertise Unleashed. I'm Brian.
And I'm Michelle.
And today we're going to be talking about, offers and lead generation and jumping into that because I read a book and it said that everything is downhill from leads. If you don't have leads in your business or don't have a way of generating leads, then you're pretty much dead in the water and you're just spinning your heels. And so, we're going to kind of dig into that today. And, both of us being in sales, for as long as we were in sales, we understand the importance of having leads, and being able to generate leads. But what is the science behind it? What will generate leads for you, faster and longer to be able to sustain and build and scale a business, and keep it going in a way that, is productive, for you and for the people that you potentially seek to serve. So we're gonna jump into a little bit of that today. So with that being said, I think it's important that, we understand that this social media, a website, all of those things, lend itself to, the process of doing, creating leads. And so we want to always make sure that, mastering, principles and mastering techniques and practicing principles and practicing techniques becomes preeminent, in whatever we're doing in the generation of these leads, when we're having an offer and something that we're wanting to get out there to the public. So I wanted to start with, what is mastery?
Yeah. Should we start with what is a lead? Like a lot of times you started in with lead gen, and sometimes people are like, well, what does that mean? What does that have to do with me? And I think it's important to know that most people think, when we say unleash your expertise, become the solution to someone's problem, people are like, well, okay, well, how do I do that? What do I do? And they figure out, okay, a solution that they can provide to somebody's challenge. Now it's like, how do I go and find all the people who have those challenges? Those are your leads, right? Like those are people who need the service or the solution that you provide. So going and finding those folks and determining how to be able to get them to allow you to help them with that problem. Because it might be somebody out there that's doing that, right? Like, so, we'll talk about, I know we're going to get into it a little bit later where we talk about referrals, because referrals are the easiest piece of lead generation. But I think, I just thought we needed to back up and explain what a lead was.
Right. So a lead basically is just somebody who is interested, in your product or service. That's all a lead is, nothing more, and nothing less. But the problem is that people have is, are people able to find you, to get your product or your service, or how are you getting the leads? How are you going to attract them? And so that's why all of this, we're trying to do all of this is important, to know.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. You were going to give the definition, or you were going to go into mastery?
So mastery basically is the ability to do something effortlessly without the use of conscious resources. So if you think about, we have 3 kids. So when kids when they're learning to walk, they try to stand up, they fall down. Some kids laugh, some kids cry. A lot of kids will get up and start walking again. They get to the point where once they're up and they're walking, they're doing it effortlessly. They don't have to think about it. You think about tying your shoe. You think about when you learn to ride a bike. I can still just jump on a bike right now and start pedaling and know I won't fall down because I've mastered it. When you learn to tie your shoe, you don't think, oh my gosh, I need to do this way and then pull it through. We do it effortlessly. And so that is mastery. And I think things have gotten a little bit muddled because, we're not learning just to know something. We're not learning just for book knowledge. We're learning is for mastery. So when I say, We're constantly living, we're constantly learning, and we're constantly leveraging. We're learning so we can master something. And when you can master something, then you're ready for public consumption at that point. Because I heard one of my coaches say this. He said, amateurs, no, he said professionals know their lines. Amateurs wing it, mean they haven't achieved mastery. They're just doing whatever, throwing stuff up against the wall, seeing if it sticks. But professionals know their lines, meaning they've mastered it. When you think about the great actors and actresses out there, you think of an Angela Bassett, you think of a Denzel Washington, you think of all these people, they've mastered their craft. They know their lines and can convey their lines in such a point, where they're so believable, it compels people to watch their movies, or in Angela Bassett's case now, watch her show, because she's so believable, because she's mastered it. And so once you achieve mastery, then and only then are you ready to get out there for public consumption and start generating leads to attract people to what you want to do, because you've mastered what you're doing. And so now I really have something to give to the world.
No, I think that's good. I always like to tell people that, okay, how do I master something? And you master it when you have done 10,000 hours in it. By then you should be able to teach it to somebody else. Then you should make it easy for somebody to be able to comprehend what it is that you're providing. So this is all around what your solution is to the problem, right? So you whatever you have mastered, then you can provide a master class, 10,000 hours minimum on something. So if you spent the time and the energy honing your craft, getting better at it, providing, and now you can provide it to someone else, then you are ready for lead generation.
Right. So the first thing we have to do, when you're talking about offers, is define your offer. You have to pick your people. Who are you going to help? That I think that's the biggest thing that trips people up. I have this expertise. I know a lot about this. I believe I've attained mastery or achieved mastery, because we're not talking about, when you haven't reached that point. These are people who are at that point. Okay, now, so the thing you have to do is you must define your ideal client, and there is no offer that is good for everybody. Right. If it's good for everybody, then it effectually becomes good for no one. So if you help everyone, if you're trying to help everyone, you're going to end up helping nobody. So you have to pick your people, define your avatar, your ideal client, before you can move forward, into, looking at producing lead generation, type of thing. So.
No, I think that's good. I think, when I think about, let's just take an example from some of the people that we've helped. We'll use Richenda, and she recently put out a new offer for coaching individuals who want to host conferences. And so it is her chosen conference academy. And so she's mastered it, because she's been doing it for over 10 years now. And she knows the ins and outs of it. She knows the hurdles and the hiccups that she's run into doing it. But she also knows all of the good things that makes it a little easier, that makes it simpler, and gets more people on board and things like that. So now she's got a program that she can offer to people. And in the offering that she has, it's not everything in the kitchen sink that you want your offer to be good, so that people can actually get the result. What is it that people need to get the result or the transformation that they're looking for? In her case, how do I put on an event like that, and people are actually showing up for it? They enjoy all of the components that are a part of it, and I haven't pulled my hair out because I wasn't well planned. That makes a good offer. And people will say, and she's had people to say, teach me that, because I need that. And she's helping people.
Now, here, this is something critical too. She also now she's very good at speaking to a lot of women, and so she's had the live events, but she also with this, she wasn't afraid to niche down. She's not looking for all like every woman or every man that wants to, put on live. She's not looking for everybody out there. She's looking specifically for people, for men and women who want to put on live events. I'm the one that you need to come to because I've been doing this for 10 years. You've got a dream, but it's buried under doubt. You're stuck Googling strategies, second guessing your niche, wondering if you're even cut out for this. You watch others scale while you're still trying to start. You know you have value, but you feel invisible. You're doing everything alone, and it's exhausting. At Expertise Unleashed, we've been there. We don't just teach tactics, we walk with you through the mess. We help you shift your mindset, clarify your audience, and build high-ticket offers that sell with confidence. You'll learn marketing that actually works and how to create events that grow your impact and your income. You were never meant to play small. You just needed someone to show you how to rise. This is your moment. Let's unleash what's already in you. You have to be able to niche down, one, so you can get to your target audience, and two, so you can weed out everybody else who's going to waste your time. So you're not on the phone or your staff is not on the phone talking to people who are just out there wanting to get information. No, I want this, and I want you to teach me how to do it. I like your material. I like what you're putting out there. So it does two things. It gets to your people and it repels everybody else who you don't want. And that's the positive thing about niching down. So you're not wasting your time.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's heard that the riches are in niches, right? So when you do niche down and you can be specific, then that way you're talking to exactly the person who needs exactly what you offer. And like you said, it weeds everybody else out. A lot of times you don't want to repel people. You're like, oh no, let me talk to everybody. And then in talking to everybody, then I'll determine who it is that I can help. Well, if you really focus in your messaging, your marketing, your content to be specific for the people who need it or can use it and are looking for it, it makes it a lot easier. Then you have more people coming in that are closer to what it is that you deliver, and you don't waste the time or the energy. I tell people all the time, like, I don't spill tea, but tea to me is my time, my energy, and my attention. I only have so much of that to give out. And so I just don't, I don't waste it on a lot of, frivolous things or people that I cannot help. Because there's some people that you can't help.
Right. So just to recap, we want to find out who we're going to help. Mm-hmm. We're going to find, we're going to let them know how we're going to help them.
That's key.
And then, what are we after? So what you're actually after when you're looking at lead generation is a name, an email, and a phone number. So when you're putting out content, that's really what we want. And so, as we go into this lead generation portion of this, that's what we want: a name, an email, and a phone number, so we can contact them by email, so we can get them information, so we can get them text information by text, and of course we have their name, for constant contact. So your information, needs to be such that people see you, they say, this person can help me, and you need to produce something, and it could be anything. You could be offering a book, you could be offering, 7 tips for this, 5 tips for this. This is how you do this, you do that, in exchange for the information, so you can build this database, of leads that you can continually sell to, which I think is critical, because we can put, like, I just got through developing, I think, 3 different, lead generation pieces. that we're going to start putting out there that are really going to help people. So I'm giving out value in bite-sized pieces. So eventually I can draw you in because you're looking for this, and you can jump into one of these programs, or you can buy my book, or you can get a premium ticket offer if you really want to go high level, so that's why we're doing all of this, and we're jumping into that. We're jumping into that next. So
yeah, no, I think we should just keep going, because at the end of the day, you have something that will help. People need to know that you can help and how you'll do it. And one thing that I think is important is you tell people why to help them, right? Like, or when you can help them, what you can help them do, when you can help them to do it. And then you want them to get into the why. Why do you want to help, right? And then you create the opportunity. Your offer, or what you're getting that lead for, is going to help you teach them how to do it. It's the how to. So when you're building content, creating something, lead magnet or what have you, whether it's a video, whether it is an actual downloadable piece, you are going to give them what it is that you can do, tell them when they need to be working on it, when they need to do it. And you really want them to get into the why. Why am I doing this? Why do I want to help this person solve this problem? Most of the time, because I would have liked to have had somebody helping me when I had the problem. And then you create an offer that gives you the opportunity to have you walk them through the how. That's what we do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you're talking about the lead generation offer, the first thing that you have to do is create curiosity, in your messaging, so this is when things will begin to change for people, because when you create curiosity, for your niche, we're not just doing this for everybody. For your niche, you're saying somebody that's looking for what you do, they'll say, hey, you know what, man, I think I'm having that issue, and by your messaging on your social media, it draws them in, and so then after you create the curiosity, then there has to be some type of agitation. There has to be some type of pain that they're going through that you can solve, or some type of issue, so after you've drawn them in, how do we keep them in? So the agitation is, man, I'm going through that, or I've seen people go through that, and I really want to avoid that, so maybe this person can help me do that. Maybe they can help me get to my next wealthy place, and so I think I'm going to jump in. And so I'm gonna say too that you really need somebody skilled, or you need to become skilled, in your social media messaging. So I remember the first video that we did, it was like, 7 reasons why, this is not happening for you. That's like a curiosity hook. Or you could say something like we own a publishing company. 3 reasons why your book is not selling. 3 reasons your book is not selling, because there's a lot of people that's writing books, and there's a lot of people that's got 1,000 books in their garage, that they're not selling. So somebody who wants to be able to really sell books and build their brand, they'll be like, hey, I need to jump in and see why these 3 reasons why my book is not selling. They obviously have something that they know that I'm not doing that can help me. So then once they get in, then, that's the hook. And then the agitation is what we're doing when we're giving them the 3 things. Okay, well, these are 3 things that people are doing, why your book is not selling. I guarantee you, usually if you're putting stuff out there, the people that are looking, they're not doing these 3 things, or they're doing these 3 things wrong. And so that's when the value comes in. Mm-hmm. And you need to be able to give it to them succinctly and quickly, or you're going to lose them. I think it's about anywhere from 3.5 to 7 seconds once you get people tuned in that you have to really grab their attention, and so that's where the value comes in. And I know I heard one of my coaches say, you should never give away value wise. You should never give away anything for free that you cannot charge for. And at first I was like, because I was one of those people that said, I'm not giving them nothing, until they pay for it, and the reverse is true. You don't give away junk. I remember one time at the church we came from, we were having this big garage sale. And I remember people bringing things, and they were not bringing things that somebody else would want. They were bringing their junk, and it had no value. And so as a consequence, all of this stuff was left over. Now, there was some good stuff out there, and there was some junk out there. The junk was left over, and all the good stuff was gone. So basically, you want to get to the point, and you want to give them something that they can actually lose. Because what he said was, hey, if this person can teach me, thank you, Michelle, if this person can teach me this much for free, how much will they teach me if I pay for a program? And it was like, in my head, light bulb went off. So we want to be able to give them extreme value.
Yeah. You know what? And a lot of times value to one person, just like the old saying with one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? And you do want to give great value. You want people to feel like, hey, I'm going to get so much more out of actually taking the steps and paying for it. Because a lot of times people like to pressure test, like, just like you go and kick the tires and, I don't want to pay for anything. But here's one thing that I do know. What you don't pay for, a lot of times will cost you. You can get it free, but sometimes it will cost you. And sometimes the cost is in time. It's in effort. It's in experiences. Like you can have a bad experience because, I tried to do all of these things by myself. Or I tried other people that were in essentially the same position that I was in. I was taking advice from other people who didn't know it either. That's not going to help you. So sometimes what you get free, will cost you. I'll give you a perfect example. We all love YouTube. We've got a YouTube channel, right? And you love YouTube, and you go out there and you can find the information on a lot of things that you need or want to know and understand, but it's going to cost you a lot of time. You could spend all day long scrolling through the videos, trying to figure out which one is going to help me the most, the quickest, or then you'll end up on rabbit trails because sometimes something in that video will go off and then you'll see another video will come up that'll tell you about something else, which takes your focus away. So sometimes free will cost you something. But if you're willing to make an investment in, hey, you know what? This offer has all the things that I need to get me the result that I'm looking for, buy that. Save time, save energy, save headache. And the people who pay for, I know coaching costs people, right? It costs to do that. But if you're getting, we've paid our coach, you know what? It's worth it. It is worth it, for you to be able to get what it is that you need, again, to take the shortcut or get the cheat code so that you can get to your result faster. People pay for that. And so if you have a solution that helps people get to their result faster, they'll pay you for it. Yeah. And they'll be happy that they paid you for it because you got them the result that they wanted and was looking for. Then they're willing to refer you. But go ahead. I don't think we got there. We're there yet.
No, it's all good because so people really opt in, for they either, you have people that like to read, so you have printed league magnets. Then you have people who like to listen, videos, like me. So you have audio lead magnets, and then you have the video lead magnets. So whatever you create, and whatever the value that you're giving out, you need to give it in the form, that they want. So if somebody who likes to read, you wouldn't send them a video. Somebody who likes to listen, you wouldn't give them, something printed, so you want to send it out in the format that they like, but the ultimate goal is to get that information, and then you sort that all out. That's why you need a good back end system, to be able to track things so you can see how things come in, so you know how to communicate with people, and that's kind of down the line stuff. But you will need a back end system at some point in time, people. You got to have it to keep track of all of this stuff. But people opt in again because they feel like you have a solution, and they feel like you can provide them transformation. They feel like they can move you from their pain, to pleasure. They feel like you can provide the ultimate transformation for them to make their lives better and easier. And then another thing too, people also want to know, can I do it? Is it easy? Those two things. Can I do it, and is it easy? If it sounds too complicated, they're going to check out. So you don't want people to check out. So when you're doing this, when you're creating all of this, when you're giving them value, I'm sorry about my hands. She keeps telling me about that. But I will leave my hands down. I think I'm going to have to get some chains and just tie them to the chair next time when we do this. So people opt in because they feel overwhelmed, that you are so good at conveying your message and getting to their issue quickly and providing them transformation. And that's why people opt in. And when they opt in, we have to teach them something valuable. We have to inspire them with something hopeful, and we have to empower them with something useful. So I'm going to say that again because I think it's very critical. We have to teach them something valuable. We have to inspire them with something hopeful, and we have to empower them with something useful. So we don't want to make the mistake of saying, I don't want to give them anything until they pay me. That's why we have to provide value. Value, value, value. I'm going to harp on that over and over again. We have to give them something again for free that that somebody would pay for. Then we have to inspire them with something hopeful. Whatever we post on social media, whatever you post, needs to give them hope. People who feel hopeless or have less hope than they had in the past, you need to make them feel like that there is light at the end of the rainbow. And then we have to give them something to do, and that's what we do with the lead magnets. Do these 3 steps, follow this type of curriculum, read this certain book, get this lead magnet. It will help you with these issues. And once they get that, because the other part of it too is everybody might not be in the same financial situation. And so that's one of the purposes of the lead magnet, is to give them something that they can use, that they can feel hopeful, that they can feel inspired by. And then maybe when they do have the money, or if they do have the money, they'll jump in. If they don't, then at least they have something from you that is useful that they can take and use.
Mm-hmm. No, I think all of that is exactly right. Like, it's exactly right. I think, or I'll just add to what you've shared, having that something useful and hopeful, and gosh, I missed the last one. But when you're providing it, provide it in a way like as you said, in audio or print, or maybe it's something, a digital download, what have you. But give them something that they can actually take and they can apply within 24 hours. Like, how can they use it? Think about whatever you give somebody in 24 hours, they can walk away with what you've shared and actually implement something right away. Because I think quick wins is a big piece for people to feel like, oh, you know what, that really did help me. I haven't heard that before. So whether you are given something that, provides a perspective and a point of view that maybe they hadn't seen or thought about before, but it raises their opportunity to have the result that they're looking for, give it to them. Like, because chances are, if you've planned out, if there's a solution that you have, there's probably some things that you can share about that will help somebody quickly win. And quick wins really is what people love to have, and they can take and they can do something with it immediately. So Yeah, that's the only thing I was going to add is just being able to do something with it within 24 hours.
I know I was one of my mentors told me a long time ago about, when he was investing, he has a principle of FBO, and FBO is first, best or only. Are they the first people to do this? Are you the first person that's saying a message like this or conveying this, but I'm going to relate it to this? Are you the first person that's saying something like this, or communicating something like this? That's F. Then you have B, best. Is this the best stock out there? Is this the best option at this time? But in this world, are you the best at what you do? Are you the best at doing this, providing transformation in this way? And then the O is only, are you the only one, that's doing this or saying it this way, or communicating in this fashion or providing this type of transformation? So it's the principle of FBO or the law of FBO. And that's how you want to position yourself. Now, the reason this is important is because I think we mentioned on a previous podcast, there's 8 billion people in the world. So you are unique, so what has God placed in you, that you can say, I'm the FB or O in this, or I'm the FBO, first, best, and only, and your people are out there for you. So you're creating this lead magnet, you're creating these lead magnets to get them in, to draw them in, crafting these messages, giving them value so you can be their FBO person, and that's ultimately where you want to get to. So the people that you see building really fast and building really big, they're very, very good at this for what they do, because they know I'm the FBO, for these people out here who are looking for what I have.
Yeah. No, that's good. I like being the FBO.
You want to be first, the best, or the only in what you're doing, period.
No, I think that's good. That's really good. You guys had to take that one and run with it. You know what? So I guess we probably better wrap up before we run out of time today. So we talked about creating, getting leads. How do you get leads into your business? And essentially, you want to be able to put something out there in a method that they like, right? So whether it's audio, whether it's something, a digital download that they could print, or if it is a video that they can watch, it's producing it in a format that they like. And then it is you are now positioning yourself as either that first, that best, or that only option out there, so that people would be interested in working with you. And I think that's really good. I think that's super good. So what would you say is the action that people take from this podcast episode?
I think people you really need to take your time and think about who it is you're going after, and then you need to take your time in crafting messages that are going to resonate. You need to create curiosity. You need to provide agitation and pain, that you're going to solve, and then you need to give them value, some type of value. And then the last thing to do is some type of action in the form of your lead magnet that they can take away, like you said, and do quickly, that's going to provide them a result. But take some time with it and plan it out. Don't be the type of people that just put stuff out there and hope it sticks to the wall. Let's not do that. Let's take our time and craft something, because what God has for you, He has for you. It'll come to full fruition, when He sees you taking the proper steps and the right steps, to get to where you want to be.
No, I love that. That was good. That was good. You guys, as always, make sure that you like the episode. Give us some comments. Let us know some feedback. If you go and you create a lead magnet, let us know. We'd love to hear about it. Or if you need help with developing a lead magnet, we're going to have a link in the description that you can take. And these are helpful tips on creating lead magnets. And with that, I'm going to tell you, don't forget to like and subscribe. And Brian, I'm going to kick it to you to close us out.
As always, some people are meant to create small business. Some people are meant to create a large business. And some people are meant to create empires. Which one are you?